Hello and welcome back to K&F Design. If you're new here, my name is Katie. Head on down below to subscribe and give me a like so we can keep crafting together. It really does help. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to make this really pretty stained glass card. There's a couple different layers, but it's actually super easy. And that is my cat, sorry. I did adopt two of my fosters. And so with that, let's head on over to Design Space to see how to do it. So I'm going to show you how to make these stained glass window cards. And I was playing around trying to decide if I liked this orange color or the black one, so you'll have to let me know down below which one you like better. But I think I like the orange. It might make the colors pop, but let me know what you think. So the first step to make these is we need a design here. This one actually came from Creative Fabrica, and if you just type in stained glass in Creative Fabrica, there's all different types of similar pictures that you can pick from, and I'll link this specific one down below. Now, I'm going to be making them into square cards, but as you can see, this one's not quite a square. That's fine, and I'll show you what to do with that. So once you have your design that you like and you upload it to your Cricut, there's only really two main things that we need to do, and that's create shapes and do some slicing. Well, I guess three, because we also need to align what we're slicing. And it just keeps repeating. So first, let's make the actual card itself. I'm going to show you how I did the orange one just so it'll be a little bit more easier for you to see. So I'm going to be making a 5x5 card, which means we need to make this actual card piece here. This piece needs to be unlocked so we can change the proportions. It needs to be 10 by 5. So we have a nice long card, so that'll be the front. This will be the back. And I'll change it to my orange color so it's easier to see. And if you have a scoring wheel or a scoring stylus, we're going to create the score line on our card so it's easier to fold. So you go to Shapes, and then you click on this line. It says Score Line. You can also see up here it says Score Line. So we need to make our score line the same height as our card, which is 5. And then I hold down the Shift key and select the card and the score line. You can also do it by clicking it on the Layers panel over here. And then we will go to Align, and we will center them. And then we want to attach them. When you attach it, it tells Cricut to do those on the same mat. Otherwise, it'll just make a random score line and a random mat. So that's the base of our card. Now to get these cool effects. Also, the nice thing about the 5x5 card is when you, the design, we're going to be doing a print and cut. And with the 5x5 card, they will all fit on a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So we need another shape here. So this one is a 5x5. So let's make our next one a 4x4. And we'll change it to our orange. Now our sizing is locked, so it moves proportionally. So both of them turn to the 4x4. And then you can either hit duplicate or you could grab another square, either way. And let's do this one as 3 inches. So we got those done. And now we need to do the actual card pieces here. So we need some more squares. And so we want to have this back card just a little bit bigger than the design one, so you can see that color poking through. So since this card here is 5x5, let's make this one 4.75, so it's just slightly smaller than that one, and it'll poke through. These are going to have the photo on it, so I'll leave it gray. You can, again, change whatever colors you want. So we need one photo here, one just off a little bit smaller than this one, and one a little bit smaller than that. So that means we need 2 more squares. So we'll duplicate a square. This one again is 4x4, so we'll make this one just slightly smaller at 3.75. Make one more square. This one was 3 inches, so we will make this one 2.75. Oops. 2.75. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to move those off so we don't get them confused. So we'll start with our biggest square first, and we just take our design. Now this one is quite a bit bigger. I don't want to lose too much of my shape, and I need it to be 4.75. So since this one's 6 and this one's 5, I'm going to change the smallest one to a 4.75. Keep the lock on so it keeps its proportion. And then we will move. Now as you can see, it'll stick out just a little bit. That's okay. So then we'll select both the picture and the square, and we will align it and center it. And then you hit slice. The gray square now is no longer needed, and we also have these edges that we no longer need. So we have this one, and it'll go on our card nicely. Now for these other 2 squares, you want to take the photo that you already sliced. Don't take that original one So we'll duplicate it, since that's the slice one, and we'll need 2 of them. That was just right-click, duplicate. Again, you could have hit it over here in the Layers panel too. So now we'll take one of these and one of our squares, select both, align center, and slice. Delete that extra piece. There's our photo, and we don't need the gray anymore. So now we'll take the gray and that photo, align center, slice, delete the extra pieces. And that's all there is to it. Now technically you can just go and hit print now, but I'm just going to line them up for you so you know what they look like. So we want that one in the front, arrange to the front, to the front, and to the front. Select everything, align center. With everything that's together, we can just move it right over to our card. And so that's what our card's going to look like. So now we will go and make it. So once we hit make it, you should have a screen that looks like this. These black lines here are the registration lines. It should print those, and that tells your Cricut machine where to cut. Now since these are basic squares, if it doesn't work for some reason, you can just cut the squares out by hand. Or if you don't want to use a Cricut or don't have a Cricut, you can cut these squares out by hand and this out by hand and just print it. So we are going to hit continue, and it's going to have us go to our printer. So we will send it to our printer. I've already calibrated it, so I don't need to do it again. Want to leave the add bleed on, and then we just hit print. And if you haven't done this before, just make sure that you have the highest quality for your photo and things like that for your printing. So I have my picture all printed and that came out very pretty. So I'm just going to put it on my light grip mat and hit go on my Cricut machine here. Now that picture's all cut out, it's time for a cardstock. I'm actually doing this double-sided. It's yellow on the other side. And then I used a brayer with my cardstock and just kind of make sure my cardstock is down nice so it does not shift during its cutting. For cardstock, I like to do my medium cut setting and more pressure. And then I will actually, first step is to get out my scoring wheel. Again, you could use the scoring stylus as well. I'll link down below if you're interested in how I made that little compartment to hold all my tools. So whenever you take paper off of your mats, I always like to flip it upside down, and then as you can see it kind of automatically starts to lift off, and that way your paper does not bend. And also, just a couple little spots got snagged. When I unload, or before I unload my mat, I always check that my cuts came all the way off. If it didn't, you can hit the go button again. I'm just folding on that score line. So that will be the front of our card. And then we have these pieces here, there, and there. So I'm going to use double-sided tape to attach the pictures to the cardstock, and then to make these pieces come up just a little bit, or do double-sided foam. And if your papers are curling just a little bit at the edges, when you tape it down, it won't, but you can always put them underneath something heavy to help with that. Now for the foam dots, I did double-sided cardstock, so it was different on the inside. And a little bit lighter color to write on. You could put a another piece of like white cardstock with the Cricut to write your message in. You could write your message by hand, whatever you want for your sentiments. Just make sure it's facing the right way and you line up everything. And there we go. So I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful card with me, and I look forward to seeing how yours turn out as well. If you need any supplies list and design and all of that will be down below. Thanks, and until next time, happy crafting. See you later.